Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Motivational Mondays with Donna. I hope everybody is doing very well. And if you do have some challenges right now, just remember to stay in faith and realize that you're not the only one, and that whatever goes up must come down, and vice versa. And that after every winter season, there is a spring. And after every spring, there is a summer. And after every summer, there is the harvest. So your time is on the way. Along those lines, that's what I want to discuss today is perseverance. We all have to stay grounded and continue to persevere no matter what's going on. Because the other option is not really an option. If you just give up, then you're not moving forward and nothing is changing. But if you persevere, eventually things will change. And you keep that hope and things will get better. And that applies to every area of our lives, not just necessarily business, but one of the greatest giants in the success industry, Steve Jobs, had this quote about persevering. He said, "I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance." And that's what you have to have. I mean, if you're a parent and you have a child, you're going to continue to persevere with them when they start to take steps to walk, because you know they have to walk eventually. And so every single time they fall down, you'll pick them back up or wait to see if they can get up on their own and continue trying again. So that's perseverance. There's a lot of people that we can be able to look back to that persevered through some of the hardest times, but they just kept going, continuing to put one foot in front of each other, continuing to take that one step at a time. And you don't need to see the whole picture. It's kind of like the quote from Martin Luther King Jr., just take one step at a time. You don't need to see the entire staircase. Just go one step at a time and you will. And these people actually followed that motto and put it through to their lives. So many people right now own a Ford, whether it's a pickup truck, whether it's a car, whatever it is. Well, Henry Ford went through a lot of challenges and had to persevere through a lot of things and a lot of failed ventures. He was bankrupt twice. There's 5 times that his ventures failed. But now Ford is one of the top companies in the world. And so you got to keep going, Colonel Sanders, he was determined to be able to get his chicken recipe out there and actually submitted it to 1,009 restaurants before he actually found a buyer. That's really putting the pedal to the metal and continuing to go. Now, in California, in foreign countries, and definitely right here in Florida, everybody knows about Disney World and Walt Disney and what he created. And he worked for a while to be able to create, this billion-dollar company that's here and that's all over the world. And his first job that he had was with a company called Kansas City Star. And they let him go because they said he lacked imagination. Imagine that. Walt Disney lacking imagination with everything that's there right now. for the imagination. Well, he hung in there, he kept persevering, and eventually everything turned out great for him. And ironically, that same company that let him go, he actually acquired that Kansas City Star later on. So you've just got to keep moving going forward, you know. Albert Einstein, was a genius. But his parents and his teachers thought for a long time that he was mentally handicapped and he was just socially awkward. And he didn't begin to speak until he was 4 years old. And then he actually didn't start to read until he was 7. But look at what he accomplished. I think the biggest one is Thomas Edison. You know, he was considered totally unteachable. But meanwhile, after 1,000 trials and not working, he finally invented the electric light bulb. If somebody's going to keep trying something for 1,000 times and they can succeed, we can all do the same thing. We just have to keep going and just keep persevering. One of the greatest artists, painters ever, Vincent van Gogh. He never sold more than one painting, one, in his entire lifetime. And that was to a good friend of his. But after he passed away, now his paintings are priceless. I mean, he has sold so many. But even with just selling that one painting, he still continued to forge and paint. And he painted like 800 more paintings that he never got to see actually sell. But now those paintings are worth so much money. We all know Elvis Presley. And Elvis Presley had his trials and tribulations as well, and went through a few things before he actually got the tremendous success that he actually received. And he had actually been at the Grand Ole Opry, and he was told that, you know, he didn't have any talent and he wasn't going anywhere. And he should just go back to driving a truck, which is what Elvis was doing. Well, we see how that turned out. I mean, up until now, there's people streaming to go to his mansion. Elvis broke the barrier and really set it apart. And then for those of us who are into our movies, everybody knows Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg has accomplished so much in the industry, and he was rejected, 3 different times from a university in California, trying to be able to do theater and film. And finally, he got his breakthrough. And look at how much he's done. Look at how much he's accomplished, So it's going to happen, but you have to be steadfast. You have to persevere. You have to continue to just keep moving forward, little by little, little by little, Even if you fall down, it's just like hockey players, They fall down on the ice while they're skating in the game, but you don't see them just stretch out and lay down and get comfortable and say, okay, fine, let me find a pillow and a blanket. No, they get themselves back up right away and keep persevering to do and accomplish the things that they want to accomplish in life. And we need to do that, not just in our career for finances. We need to persevere when we're trying to be able to change our health and let it get better. We need to persevere in our spiritual growth, reading your Bible, going to church, being good to other people, even when good is not coming to you. It will come. But again, that's all in God's time. But He's watching you carefully to make sure that when He does open up the windows in heavens and just pour down that blessing on you, that you're actually prepared and ready to handle it. Because no matter what, you're still going to have trials and tribulations that's going to come up. I mean, James, the book of James talks about that. And that's not something that I wanted to hear. I can be perfectly honest with you. But trials actually build you. And for whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life, or whatever God has, because God always has something better for you than what you want for yourself. He needs to make sure that you can handle it. And for you to handle it, you have to persevere and keep going, and you'll get to where you need to be able to go. So just hang in there and keep moving forward. Gratitude. To close our session, there was a writer. His name was Fred DeWitt Van Amberg. And he actually published, a few newspapers and magazines. And then later on in life, he actually wrote 5 books. And they all had an inspirational character and resonance to them. And he actually said that gratitude is a currency that we can mint for ourselves and spend without fear of bankruptcy. That's just awesome. You can go out and be good to people. You can be gracious. You can be thankful. And don't have to worry about it being taken away from you. Because if you have it deep within you, that gratitude is just going to explode. And others will be able to see it. And that will actually build your life. So remember, gratitude you can spend and exhibit and give without thinking that it's going to be taken away from you like bankruptcy, because it's deep within you. Guys, have a great week. I'll talk to you next time.